Salutations everyone, it's Super X, and I know it's been a while, but I've seen some nostalgic things that I like talking about, and I talk about some video games that I played back in the day. For example, I talked about Free Realms and Fusion Fall, which were like the first two computer games I really indulged in, but today I'm going to talk about one of my all-time favorite games because I played it so much, which is GTA San Andreas. And someone refreshed because I was going through YouTube and looking through all the myths that I used to believe about San Andreas. The great thing about San Andreas is it was still in that era of where the internet was around, so you could get cheat codes. You could get, if you didn't know how to do something, you could pretty much look it up. But the best thing about San Andreas was the myths, because yes, there's a lot of people making videos on myths that may have been fake or real or whatnot, but not a lot of people will, or not a lot of people are actually fake, like saying that they were faking them. So I remember being younger me playing GTA San Andreas, and I remember going through because I was looking up cheat codes and cool little Easter eggs and things about the game. And the one myth that I tried so hard, and I probably spent hours, admittedly hours, trying to find was Bigfoot. Now, if you don't know, there was a piece of woods in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that they said that there was Bigfoot in, and I remember sitting on in my living room floor because that's how I did. Get it, sit on the floor, controller in hand, looking at my TV, going through, and it was dark in the room, and it was also dark at night to find. And I remember always being petrified and scared that Bigfoot was going to come out and jump scare me, but I just had to know, was Bigfoot in this game. So I remember walking around the woods. I remember taking cars and trucks and motorcycles all throughout the woods. And I probably searched for way too long for Bigfoot. And if I would never seen a video, I would probably always believe that I always missed Bigfoot in that game. But I'm sure anyone who played San Andreas the time when it was actually out and relevant, and well, I'm sure GTA San Andreas is still relevant in its own right mind. But when the game first came out and it was, that was the newest Grand Theft Auto and such, when you get all that, I'm sure a lot of people believe that there was Bigfoot in that game. And seeing the footage on it's very interesting because it's like I still remember pretty much everything about that game. If you see someone playing it today, I can pretty much, yeah, I'm sure anyone who's played San Andreas, you can say, oh yeah, I remember going that area. Or you can pretty much remember like the map layout. The map was decently big. I wouldn't say it was gigantic, but I think there's a lot because you had like San Fierro, which was like San Francisco. Then you had I think there's a lot more different areas to explore than such like GTA, 5 and 4, because I think because you had like the San Francisco area, which I enjoyed because of the large hills that you could, bomb cars down. Then you had the countryside. Then you had the desert, which was like, I don't know, was that supposed to be Las Vegas? I believe it was supposed to be Las Vegas. But I remember you used to get 4 stars until you did a couple missions and things. I remember using the cheat code that you wouldn't get a wanted level because I lost a save data on that game quite a few times. So cheat codes were my friend on that, definitely. Infinite ammo, jetpacks, all the cool things that are in that game. But again, with Bigfoot, I spent way, way, way too much time trying to find Bigfoot. And part of me wishes Bigfoot was in that game because then it was like I wouldn't have wasted all my time in that. But that was the coolest thing, and that's one thing I do miss about video games now because you don't really have myths anymore. I mean, I'm sure you do, but like a lot of them are actually true. Like in GTA 5, here is the myth of I forget what the ghost name is, but the ghost that you can find all the papers and the ghost will spawn. You can basically solve how she was murdered. But that's a real myth. But you don't actually have like the urban legend that old video games had, like the old Pokemon games and such. But I think, honestly, I think at any game I've ever played, I think San Andreas had the most myths with just different things. I remember I think there was night vision goggles. I don't know if that was a myth or true, but I remember that or heat vision, night vision or heat vision goggles in one of the military bases that I could never find, no matter how hard I tried. Notice I played on PS2, so maybe there's heat vision goggles on other. But I used to have a book or whatever, and it said there's heat vision goggles, or I looked it up on the internet, and it said there's heat vision goggles or night vision. I remember searching. I'm like, where are these goggles? I never did find those goggles, and I wish I did. because pretty cool. And then there was also the jetpack that spawned on the map, or you could just use the cheat code to spawn in. I don't know how many other myths were in GTA San Andreas. I'm sure there's a lot that I'm not thinking of that I tried to believe, but like murderers. I think they said that Jason was in the game and Freddy Krueger and all them. But looking back on it, I kind of roll my eyes like, I can't believe I spent, so much time trying to find all these myths in this game. But back then, I remember looking it up on the computer and being like, I want to find Bigfoot. We're gonna find Bigfoot, yeah. And it was so exciting to actually try to find Bigfoot in GTA San Andreas. Unfortunately, I never found Bigfoot, but that was one of the interesting myths. But with other video games, like I know Pokemon had a lot of them, a lot of myths, and then you had like Legend of Zelda with like, well, I don't think that was much as a Easter egg or a myth, but with like the Ben drowned kind of thing, because that was technically I think only one game that had that. But other than that, that's just one thing that was very interesting about video games when the internet first started coming out, as when everyone could start sharing stories. Because that's like also when you had to Herobrine, and people believed in that in the Minecraft community. I'm sure there's still people who believe in Herobrine. But with all these myths, that's one thing I think I don't know, I think I miss certainly is not knowing if a myth is true or not and trying to figure it out for yourself. That's one thing I do miss, and with the internet now, you just Google something. And I'm sure, back then I could have Googled it too, but on the old YouTube days, everyone was posting fake myths and not saying they were fake. They were saying that they found Bigfoot legitimately in this game, or these myths were actually true. And then I'm sure to all of us were like, or, even in school, kids tell you, certain things you can do. Certain things you can do in video games that you weren't actually supposed to, so you go home and spend hours trying to figure it out. That was the fun days of gaming, is where you told your friend like, hey, you can find Bigfoot, you can do all these little Easter eggs, things that you're not supposed to do, glitches like the unknown Pokemon or the glitch Pokemon, things like that, myths. Even if they were true or fake, they were also fun to just pass off by word of mouth or find on like, in a YouTube video and actually go out and find it, because, it was kind of cool to see either way, were they lying to you or if it was real. And if it was real, that's pretty fucking cool. If not, it was like, oh, you wasted time. But yeah, but I'm sure back then I was probably a little bit salty that there was no Bigfoot. Now I'm like, man, that would have been cool. Of course, now GTA 5 has Bigfoot, but that doesn't make up for all the hours wasted in GTA San Andreas for me. But anyways, this is just a video of me just talking because I've been really busy with life and such. So with videos have slowed down, but hopefully I can make more videos. But it might be staggering from time to time now. We'll see what we can do. But if you have an old video game myth that you can remember, whether it was true or false, comment if it was true or false. If it was a real myth or not, and tell me your experience with it, because I'm curious. I don't know how many video game myths are out there, even if they're newer games. It doesn't matter if they're older or newer games. I'm just curious to hear them all. But always, guys, I'm Andreas. I'll see you guys in the next episode. I thank you for watching, and also thank you for the 730 subscribers. Or are we more than that? I don't know how many we have now. Maybe 750, I think. But I really appreciate it, because we're still really launching up. We're almost going to be hitting 800 subscribers. Soon we'll be hitting 1,000, which means we get all the rest of my YouTube perks, which means we get like the super chat and other things. I'm definitely going to mess around with those. It'd be very interesting to see. So, as always, guys, again, Super Answer X. It looks like I'm stretching this out to 10 minutes. I'm not. I will cut this off at 10 minutes. Hope you have a fantastic day. Again, if you have a myth, please comment below. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya!